It's now time for Talkin' Boxing with Billy C. It began as a podcast, went live on the net, and transformed into a full-blown empire. It's the only daily boxing talk show on the planet, hosted by the only guy with the balls to do it. Many have stepped into the ring. Many have tried to take the belt. And one by one, they've fallen. Another victim of the undisputed heavyweight champion of boxing talk radio. Talkin' Boxing with Billy C is on now.
My style is impetuous, my defense is impregnable, and I'm just ferocious. I want your heart.
We're coming to you live from the Billy C Studios in Lake George, New York. I'm Bill Calogero, and it's time for the Billy C Show. Good morning, good day, good evening. Whenever you're listening, whenever you're watching, I hope you're doing all right. Today's show, she's a being brought to you in a bar to buy, Sal's Neighborhood Pizzeria and Italian Restaurant, located on beautiful St. Simon's Island in Georgia. Check out the website, www.salsneighborhoodpizzeria.com. Or give my man a call, 912-268-2328, 912-268-2328. Find out why I go all the way to St. Simon's for an authentic Italian meal. And speaking of St. Simon's, we are doing a big Billy C get-together event in St. Simon's sometime towards the end of the summer. It is going to be not one, not two, but 3-day event. Culminating with a big fight night. We got a golf tournament. We got a fishing tournament going on. We got dinner at Sal's. We got meet and greets. We got celebrities. We got all this stuff. However, it's invitation only, so you have to reach out and make your plans now. Drop me an email, billy@talkinboxing, TalkinBoxing.com. And finally, today's show is being brought to us in part by my book, Tom Molyneux, From Bondage to Baddest Man on the Planet. It's available right now where all good books are sold. And you can get a copy of this book right now. I'm talking right now while you're watching or listening to this show. I don't care when you're watching, when you're listening, when you're doing anything. Just get a copy of the book. You could do it right now by going to barnesandnoble.com or amazon.com. If you're looking to get a signed copy, hey, don't worry about it. Just go to the website, billycboxing.com. Click on the book and follow the direcciones. Hey, if you want more than one copy, that's even better. I'll give you a discount. Just drop me an email, billy@talkinboxing. That's TalkinBoxing.com. Got some emails to read. We got some news to talk about. I've been being bombarded. I've been being bombarded. Yeah, I've been being bombarded about this Canelo Alvarez thing. And, the cheating. And, it's funny. Throughout the years, and I've been involved in boxing for over 35 years now. And, it's funny how I've seen it evolve. And one of the most prominent things that I've noticed is today people are diehard fans of a fighter and everybody else is no good. And, they're loyal to their guy to no end, regardless. And throughout this, issue of the potential PED use, well, he definitely tested positive, since then has tested clean, but nonetheless, the plethora of people that have been saying, oh, he's a cheater, once a cheater, always a cheater, he's always been cheating, blah, 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 blah. And then you have the Canelo Alvarez fans who either say, I don't know anything about boxing, and when it's directed to me, which it makes me laugh, or they don't say anything. I've been getting a lot of phone calls, emails, texts about people claiming that Canelo has been cheating for a long time, et cetera, et cetera. But one of the most, I guess to me it's disturbing, but one of the most disturbing pieces of news or at least opinions, because hey, listen, the only news I know, the only cheating he's done is those two tests that he failed recently. But a lot of people feel that not only did he cheat this time, but he has been cheating. As a matter of fact, many people believe that he cheated for the first Triple G fight. I got some accusations from people that are willing to be called out on it. I'm going to bring up a little bit later. Got some emails and all that stuff. But first, joining me right now from St. Simon's is Sal Rocky Senecola. And Sal, we've been talking a lot about this situation with Canelo and, cheating, using the performance-enhancing drugs. We all admit that superstar athletes try to gain the edge with whatever, whether they're diet, exercise, whatever. But the line is you're supposed to gain an edge without cheating. Do you think that Canelo, because of the pressure that he's under, being billed as the face of boxing, which none of us believe, but, feeling that he filled in the spot for the big name in the sport, do you think that kind of pressure has led to Canelo to have been, stretching the rules a little bit, even as going as far as saying that he cheated in the first fight as well?
No, Bill, I don't think so, and I'll tell you why. A fighter that comes into his own, that really, that's part of the high, that's part of the belief, ability, that's part of, wow, this is me, this is what God gave me, and I am an elitist in my own right, in the sense that you feel you've arrived, and it's all coming together. And, there's many trainers that'll tell you, boy, there's so much to learn about boxing that by the time you learn it all, it's time to retire. Well, there are those special ones that do put it all together, that do have that synergy, that do have the stars align, if you will, that do get it, and that do pick it up and do elongate a career sustained by their being that special type of fighter, that 1 in a million that comes along. And, if Canelo Alvarez is that true fighter to be like that, and he is certainly up there ahead of the pack on so many other levels. He knows that it's been through blood, sweat, tears, hard work, sacrifice, and commitment. And those are the foundations, the fundamental reasons, the fundamental drivers that people do certain things above what the normal people or average person may find acceptable to undertake and to do. So I don't think it was something that would be saying, hey, I now have this title I've earned or I'm tagged with, and I've got to be special. No, it's because you believe in yourself and you believe this is what God has given you. And I don't see this being a reason to turn to performance-enhancing drugs or anything like this. And we don't know. We don't know the facts. We don't know what his system has yielded originally. We don't know the real facts. We don't know what his diet consisted of. We don't know what his nutritional supplements were. We don't know a lot of things. So just to blanket across the board and say,
I just lost your sound, Sal. Sal. I just lost your sound. Your sound is gone, buddy. We lost Sal's sound. I think, Sal, you might have hit your mute button or something, because all of a sudden we lost your sound. Check your connections or whatever. But in any event, we'll get Sal back here in a second, because as soon as he opens up his mouth, I'll be able to tell if I got his sound or not. But in any event, I think we got you back, Sal. What'd you do?
I had an out-of-body experience.
No, I think what you did was you knocked a cable out or something. All of a sudden, yeah. But yeah, no, I hear what you're saying. But the funny thing is, well, I didn't hear all of you said. But the funny thing is, the funny thing is, Sal, the pressures that are on a fighter or any athlete to perform at the level in which he's expected. Could be so much that I don't even understand. But then there comes the other part, the conscience part. If you're a fighter or an athlete, any athlete for that matter, and let's say you cheated, let's say you took a performance-enhancing drug when you weren't supposed to, or you did something that was beyond the scope of the rules, and you got away with it. How long do you think before that conscience catches up with you? When you're looking in that mirror and you're saying, and you're winning awards down the line. I'm just saying, let's say 20 years from now, oh yeah, he won this, he won that, greatest fighter, blah blah blah, and deep down he's saying, yeah, the only reason why I won it is because I took that pill. You think that will weigh heavily on a fighter? And I'm not saying Canelo, but Canelo seems like the guy, the kind of, I hate to say it, but when I was a kid and going to school, and you'd have these athletes in school who thought who they were. They walked around, they were above the rules. And you see it a lot with superstar athletes today. To me, Canelo portrays that. He walks around, he's got that look on his face, he thinks who he is. Maybe he thinks that he's okay, he can get away with it. But do you think that his conscience would ever come into play?
I believe, and I'm not saying Canelo is that kind of person. What I'm suggesting is I believe a person that would do something like that doesn't have the conscience to worry about. I believe that they decide to make a change or an enhancement or something in their lifestyle or in their regimen, that it's a false bravado. That's what I'm saying. When they look into their mirror and they see who's staring back at them, they're going to know what they actually have done. But if they're already that kind of person that's going to do something like that, they're okay. They can live with that person. And that's all that happens. You're thinking, and I'm thinking like a rational person, because we're not going to do something like that. Or not just a rational person. We're thinking from our own perspective. We can't say how others feel about it. That's a false thing. I know how you feel is the wrong statement, because everybody is uniquely different. And to suggest that we can empathize and really truly know how a person feels about something is false, because if they're going to do something, they're going to do it, and they're not going to look back. And they may reconsider it, but they're not going to look back because they made the decision to do something that's not supposed to be done.
No, that's a good point. Let's get some emails out of the way, because some of them, actually, a couple of them here are on this topic. So, first and foremost, Jesse writes, hey guys, Mikey showed he has the skills to beat any style. He's accurate, he's got great timing and punching power. Good fight. He beat a game Lipinets who showed toughness and countered Mikey very well with his left hook. Sergi needs to add more to his arsenal. Both guys gained to their fighting. I don't know, gained from them fighting. I don't know. You guys got to take a little more time when you're typing, man. But Mikey versus Josh Taylor, Regis Prograis, or another champ in 140 or a 135 champ. Listen, Mikey Garcia is a top name. Josh Taylor is on his way up. Prograis, he's a kid that's on his way up. I mean, these are guys that would never bring enough money to fight Mikey Garcia. Mikey Garcia is at that next level, boys and girls. So you're not going to – the only fights you're going to see Mikey Garcia in with, like, opponents, are going to be top guys, top names, big fights, big names, big money. That's all Mikey Garcia is looking to do. He's not looking to fight a Regis Prograis. There's no way. He's not going to fight a Josh Taylor. It makes no financial sense. As far as Lipinets, I agree 100%. He needs to add more to his arsenal. Maybe a little better defense. But on the other hand, and I'm going to get to the topic a little bit later. On the other hand, his aggressive style is fun to watch, and I think that most people like it, and I think that it's helping the sport. So I don't know, man. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. I mean, he fought Mikey Garcia. Mikey Garcia is a pound-for-pound fighter. He says
that's a good point.
I mean, he is. You can't argue that, right, Sal?
I mean, let's look at something. Lipinets could be a great fighter, but Mikey Garcia is just that one level above, and it's hard to look great when you're fighting one of the greatest. And I say pound for pound. I mean, you can look, if you're fighting average people, you're going to look stellar. If you're fighting above average people and you're you're fine. A class above, you're still going to look great. But when you step up against an elitist like a Mikey Garcia, who is at the top of his game at this time, it's going to nullify what you might have gotten away with in the past against lesser opponents. So I think that, hey, does he reinvent himself? Does he try something different? He's just got to realize, hey, this is another level. And if I'm going to have that opportunity again, I've got to do something a little different because this way did not work for me this time. I'm not saying he can't do that. I'm not saying he should just reinvent himself. I'm just saying he's got to study and he's got to really look in his heart of hearts, and he's got to revamp a few things to have better outcome next time.
Jesse goes on to say, it hurts to see Oscar Valdez get into these brawls because the kid has speed, footwork, and pretty good defense, but he gets lured into these slug fights and gets sloppy and stands still and takes too many shots when he drops his hands. Oscar deserves top champs in the current division or maybe go up. Again, Jesse. Listen, I love Jesse because he's interactive with this show on a regular basis, and we really like that. It's important to the whole this show in general. This is what it's about. But he has a tendency, and Jess, I'm talking to you. You have a tendency to always want fighters to move up. I mean, I wish I save all your emails. And it's like almost in every single one of them, you're making a comment that you want a fighter so and so to move up, or you're suggesting opponents that don't make sense. Like example, just now with Mikey Garcia possibly fighting a guy like Josh Taylor or Prograis. Now on the other hand, if you want to take Lipinets. Him against Josh Taylor or Prograis, that's a different story. But you're not going to see that with Mikey Garcia. As far as Oscar Valdez, this is a guy that could be a superstar. Why push him up? Right now, he's got some holes. He's got some chinks in his armor. Let him fix them first. Let him become more solid at the weight class that he's in. Unless a kid is having trouble making weight, Sal, there's no reason to move up. I mean, the only other reason is if there's a lucrative huge money fight at an upper or even lower weight class. But if there isn't, and you have enough, big fights financially rewarding as well in your own weight class, unless you can't make that weight anymore, why go up? What do you think on that?
You know what I think on that. I think a fighter who is naturally or who can manage himself at a certain weight class that may be suitable for him, and he can maximize his tools and reign for a while, I think that's great. Look at how many times they've encouraged for the big money or for the big fights because there's nobody left. Like, wasn't there light heavyweight Bob Foster? Wasn't he lured up to fight Muhammad Ali or so, or go up to heavyweight division? You could only go so much. I mean, that's why they have weight classes. So you could reign and identify which weight class you are best suited for, and that you can maximize your talents within that weight range. Otherwise, they'd be having lightweights fight heavyweights if they had the pit bull mentality to say, hey, I want to be the best. And that's fine if they can do it. But the bottom line is, I'm not saying nobody can't. But when a fighter is reigning at a particular weight class that they're suited for, that they have had success at, why force an issue when he's just cleaning up and doing things? Unless, as you suggested, they undertake the idea that they can make a big money fight or they could do something else with that. Otherwise, other than that, he's comfortable at a weight class and he's maximizing his skills and his skill set and level. Stay there. Well, you don't have to move up. Don't listen to everybody. You listen to people. Half these people do not know what they're talking about anyway.
This is true. That's. I can't agree with that more. Bob Foster, just for the record, Bob Foster.
I saw the internet. I saw something on the internet the other day. I had to write that. It was crazy. It had a picture of Jack Nicholson. Like we talk about him from The Shining, and I could picture it was like a still shot. It said underneath him, "If you're going to be a smart ass, first make sure you're smart. Otherwise, you're just going to be an ass.
Well, he was the other day. If anybody follows basketball, this guy's been a L.A. Lakers fan for as long, and he's always sitting there right on the court.
Yeah.
And apparently, the other day, they asked him to see his ticket. Yeah. Hey, listen, I got to take a short break here, but I got another point on Jesse's email, and just for the record, Bob Foster, nobody would fight him at light heavyweight, and one of the reasons why he moved up to heavyweight wasn't so much to prove anything. He never made the money that he should have, and by moving up and fighting in the heavyweight division, he was finally able to make a couple of bucks, even though it didn't work out too well for him. Hey, we'll be back in 2.
Billy C will be right back.
Broken air conditioning, $4,400. Failing refrigerator, $2,500. Don't let outrageous repair and replacement bills like these bust your budget. Get the First American Home Warranty Plan. And when a covered appliance or system breaks, we'll repair it or replace it for you.
We had a high-end dishwasher go kaput. They put it in a brand new dishwasher.
We have plans that cover air conditioning, most appliances, plus heating, plumbing, electrical systems, and much more. Plans start as low as $25 a month. Why let a major appliance or system breakdown bust your budget or go through the hassle of finding trustworthy service people? Last year alone, we saved our customers over $120 million. Don't wait until something breaks and you're stuck with a huge bill.
You save a lot of money. It's absolutely worth it.
If you don't have First American Warranty, get it.
Call 1-800-946-6234 for your free no-obligation quote.
Need relief from backaches and stiffness in your hips or down your legs? Then you need Dr. Ho's Back Relief Belt. The innovative technology works to support and decompress your spine. And now it's covered by Medicare.
Every patient with back pain should be wearing this belt.
Nothing gave me instant relief except for the Dr. Ho belt.
Feel good while standing, walking, driving, doing housework, and while laying down. And now Dr. Ho's patented belt is available at our best price ever. It's even covered by Medicare. Order now to get the easy-to-use hand pump and back rehabilitation DVD free.
You know, similar belts can cost you almost $1,000, but my belts won't cost you $500, not $300, not even $200. I will give you my special TV price.
And remember, Dr. Ho's belt is covered by Medicare.
If you know a friend or family member that suffers with pain, get them my system today. Help them live with less pain, be more active, and get back to doing the things they love. Give them the gift of health.
Listen to this important message. If you owe money to the IRS, you will want to hear this. Penalties and interest compound daily on your back taxes, putting you under a mountain of debt. Tax 10,000 has years of experience connecting people with tax resolution specialists. Working through the IRS Fresh Start program, they will handle all the necessary forms, and if you qualify, you may end up saving thousands of dollars. Call Tax 10,000 at 800-773-4604.
Are you currently on Medicare? In other words, do you carry the red, white, and blue Medicare card? If so, are you suffering from chronic back pain? If you answered yes, you may be eligible for a pain-relieving back brace covered by Medicare at little to no cost, shipped directly to your home for free. These medical-grade back braces are ideal for lower back pain, arthritis, spinal disorders, and other chronic back problems. Will you qualify for a medical-grade back brace?
Call Back Brace America at 1-800-290-8300.
Check out BillyCBoxing.com now, or feel the wrath of the mighty mustache.
Oh, that hurts! Why are you doing that to my face? I hate you!
That's BillyCBoxing.com. Consider this your warning. Now back to Billy C. Interact with the show at BillyCBoxing.com.
And we're back. You're watching and listening to the Billy C Show. Glad you could be with us. We're in the middle of a couple of emails. I got some news. Hot topic. Has Canelo been cheating all along? Did he cheat in the first fight with Triple G? Last comment here from my man Jesse says, DeLeon versus Andy was a very unrisky fight for both guys. Both didn't take major risk, therefore it ended in a draw. But I thought maybe Andy won. That particular fight should have been a little better. Are you going to criticize? Can we criticize fighters for being a little too cautious in the ring? You know what, Sal? To a degree, I think we should. You get a fight. As far as I'm concerned, you're supposed to be winning that fight, and you should be doing whatever you can to win the fight, and then worry about tomorrow. One thing I learned when I was involved in the sport of baseball, when you're managing a baseball team, the truth of the matter is, you want to set up every manager would want to set up their pitching so that they have the best pitchers day in and day out. But the truth of the matter is if you don't win that first game, especially if you're in some kind of a tournament or a World Series, if you don't win that first game, with your best guy, you don't get the chance for that next game. And that's similar in boxing. If you don't win the fight in front of you, how do you expect to get more?
Well, you're precisely right. I mean, come on. That's it. And how often do I say, and I talk about an issue, and I'll use a metaphor, I'll use an analogy. You know what? And I usually will say this. If you're afraid to lose, you're going to be afraid to win. Or if you fight because you're afraid to lose in a style, you're going to be afraid to win. Because the bottom line is you got to put it out there. You got to let it fly. And you got to put it on the line. And you can't look past the fight in front of you. You've got to identify that this is where I am, this is the moment I'm at, and there is no tomorrow if I don't get past today. And the bottom line is, it's true. And I remember there was one of my co-wrestlers on my high school wrestling team. I had a nickname for him because it was Draw, because he had a draw. Every match was like a draw because he wouldn't put himself out there to execute something other than taking a chance or a risk. And he would wrestle, and a great wrestler, great athlete, but he was always just coming up with average results until he turned it around. He turned it around. He was a spectacular wrestler because he identified the fact that he's not just out there not to lose, he's out there to win. And that's what you got to do.
No,
there's a difference.
I agree. I had a fighter, a middleweight once. It was a vicious. I've told this story before. I know, at least to you. He was vicious in the gym. I mean, this kid used to spar with heavyweight. He was a middleweight. He used to spar with heavyweights. I mean, we used to have to tell him, take it easy in the gym. I mean, he was a killer. And as soon as you put him in a real fight, he would do what his opponent did. So in other words, if his opponent hit him twice, he'd hit him back twice. If the opponent hit him once, he'd hit him back once. If the opponent hit him 4 times, he'd hit him back 4 times. And then he would lose these close decisions, or it ended up a draw. I never saw a fighter with so many draws. And he would always say to me, Bill, I got robbed. I won that fight. And finally, I was like, Keith, you can't expect to win fights if you're only giving back what you're getting. You got to step on the gas. Exactly what you're saying about your wrestling, buddy. But anyway, a couple more emails.
Otherwise, you're just shadow boxing.
Right, you might as well. Sometimes those shadows can kick ass. But anyway, I got another email. This one about Canelo. He says, it's from my man Greg. He says, hey, Billy C, 3 things. 1, everybody knows Canelo is a cheater with performance-enhancing drugs. How come nobody's talking about the illegal hand wraps? Triple G, number 2, Triple G's trainer told the Nevada State Athletic Commission that Canelo hands were being wrapped illegally and they wouldn't do anything about it. They did tape, gauze. The rule is gauze, tape. If they try that stuff this time, then Triple G should wrap his hands the same way. I bet it wasn't legal in Vegas when Canelo fought you-know-who. And then number 3 is, did he cheat on the scale too? You said he looked like a super middleweight. I think you're right. Now, with this email, Greg sent me a video that was put out by a third party, and it showed Triple G and Canelo getting on the scale, and it did seem that they gave Canelo a real quick reading. In other words, in this particular video, it was 9-point-something seconds that Triple G stood on that scale, posing, smiling, and they had the weight was okay. And they balanced it perfectly before he got on the scale. When Canelo stepped on the scale, which always makes me laugh because Canelo was the second to get on the scale, even though he's bringing nothing to the fight except his name. Number one, it didn't, and the video showed, again, this is a third-party video, it didn't show, it was an old-style scale, the triple beam type. It didn't show, well, it's not really a triple beam, but you know what I mean. It didn't show it actually zeroed out. It was still kind of moving when Canelo got on it. And then you see Canelo stood on that scale for almost 6 seconds, and then the team Canelo, the one of the Canelo's guys, signaled to the commissioner, it's okay, and they started clapping, and he got off and started immediately drinking stuff. It did seem a little questionable in that fight. I mean, it was never brought up then, so it happened then. It's over, so we can't really now. But yes, the video that I was sent did seem a little questionable. As far as the, cheating with the performance-enhancing drugs, it honestly, as much as I like Canelo, because I do, it wouldn't surprise me. He seems like that kind of guy. I don't know. You shouldn't judge a book by its cover, but he does seem like he's willing to do whatever. And then as far as the tape gauze tape instead of gauze tape gauze, I know it sounds funny, Sal, when you say that, but it is true. When you put tape on the outside, that's much harder than gauze. I mean, so if they're putting tape, then gauze, then tape, rather than what the rule is, which is, gauze, tape, gauze, I could see them being an argument. What do you think?
Are you kidding me? Yeah, I sure can. I mean, you put tape around your knuckles first. That's solidifying. You're really. I think it definitely it would make a difference. I could feel it right now. It would make a difference. And you have the underlying fist with the tape over it coming through a couple layers of gauze. That still have to be held in place with a little tape. But the bottom line is, if you have the fundamental or foundation of the fist lined with tape first, forget about it. It's going to be a harder punch. It's going to be I know it's going to make a difference. It's going to make a difference. I definitely know it's going to.
Well, I mean, what?
And I didn't know that. And what about this though? You're supposed to get your hands wrapped in front of the inspector.
Well, the inspectors were there, and that was what Abel Sanchez was complaining about. He said that he was questioning it, and they told him to shut up, otherwise they're going to throw him out. And then they were saying that the way that Canelo's hands, the Nevada State Athletic Commission said that the way Canelo's hands were wrapped were 100% legal, and they've been doing that for over a decade. And, what this particular email from my man Greg, the funny thing is the order in which he's saying it makes more sense. And if the inspector didn't notice the order and just knew that, hey, they could put tape and gauze and tape or whatever, then yeah, it would make a difference. But I also agree with Greg here. Then that's how that's how Triple G should wrap his hands. They should.
It's going to be like a hammer, man.
Yeah, well, you know what? Triple G should wrap his hands the same exact way.
Same way, and I'll tell you what, that's unique. I think we should have recount.
I think that they need to specify all of that. But the truth of the matter is that now, because Canelo tested positive, he's going to be under scrutiny for everything he does. Hold that thought. We're going to take a short break. I got a long email from Coach coming up, who's going to vent a little bit. We'll be back in 2.
Billy C will be right back.
Relief from backaches and stiffness in your hips or down your legs? Then you need Dr. Ho's Back Relief Belt, the innovative technology to support and decompress your spine. And now it's covered by Medicare.
Every patient with back pain should be wearing this belt.
Nothing gave me instant relief except for the Dr. Ho belt.
Feel good while standing, walking, driving, doing housework, and while laying down. And now Dr. Ho's patented belt is available at our best price ever. It's even covered by Medicare. Order now and get the easy-to-use hand pump and back rehabilitation DVD free.
You know, similar belts can cost you almost $1,000, but my belts won't cost you $500, not $300, not even $200. I will give you my special TV price.
And remember, Dr. Ho's belt is covered by Medicare.
If you know a friend or family member that suffers with pain, get them my system today. Help them live with less pain, be more active, and get back to doing the things they love. Give them the gift of health.
This is important news for women using birth control medications and devices. If you or a loved one have been diagnosed with a pseudotumor after using one of these birth control drugs or devices, you may be eligible for a cash award and medical expenses. Contact the law firm of Davis & Crump right now if you or a loved one have used one of these birth control medications or devices and were diagnosed with a pseudotumor to see if you are eligible for a cash award and medical expenses. Call now. Operators are standing by.
Hologram USA presents a proposal to all investors. Hologram USA is an innovative three-dimensional patented technology that shifted the paradigm in media technology. Our patented hologram technology that brought you Tupac and Coachella, Whitney Houston, Billie Holiday, and many more is integrating live performances to bring your favorite past and present entertainers beyond your imagination. Invest in the patented technology before the banks scoop up all the stock. Invest in Hologram USA today. Hologram USA Flagship Theater, located on Hollywood Boulevard's Walk of Fame, is the first of many to come. Call now to be part of the explosive growth. Pick up the phone. Dial the number on your screen now. Invest in Hologram USA today. Call the number on your screen right now to learn about this investment opportunity.
Call 800-624-1673. 800-624-1673.
Are you currently on Medicare? In other words, do you carry the red, white, and blue Medicare card? If so, are you suffering from chronic back pain? If you answered yes, you may be eligible for a pain-relieving back brace covered by Medicare at little to no cost, shipped directly to your home for free. These medical-grade back braces are ideal for lower back pain, arthritis, spinal disorders, and other chronic back problems. Will you qualify for a medical-grade back brace?
Call Back Brace America at 1-800-290-8300.
Now back to Talkin' Boxing with Billy C., the only radio host man enough to take a punch from Mike Tyson.
Wait a minute, man. Hold on there. Jeremy, man, I need you to take this one, all right?
Wait, what? No way. I can't do this.
Need I remind you I'm Billy C., damn it? Now put on that mustache and get in there.
Hey, look at me. I'm Billy C. Crap.
Undisputed heavyweight champion of Boxing Talk Radio. It's Talkin' Boxing with Billy C. Now back to Billy C. Interact with the show at BillyCBoxing.com.
And we're back. You're listening and watching the Billy C. Show. Glad you could be with us. Don't forget, we're doing a big event down in St. Simons. It looks like it's going to be the week. We got a couple of dates we're picking from, but it's going to be a not one, not two, but 3-day event. You're going to love it. We're going to have a golf tournament. We're going to have a fishing tournament. We're going to have some dinner, meet and greets, all this stuff, culminating with a big fight night. Listen, it's invitation only this time. You got to get the package. We're going to have hotel, dinner, all of that's included. If you're interested in being part of this extravaganza, drop me an email, billy@talkinboxing, TALKINBOXING.com. Got another email here that we're going to read, get going here. I got some news. First and foremost, this one's from my man, Coach, who you can find in the chat room right now. Now, I know there's multiple chat rooms. The one I normally respond to and stuff is the one up on BillyCBoxing.com. However, I do want to give a shout out to my man Dave Mo Wilcox, who happens to be in our simulcast on Facebook, which incidentally, if you're watching or listening on Facebook, that is the cheesiest feed. You got to come and check it out on the YouTube feed. And we got some YouTube chats going on. We're going to enhance that. We are actually committed now to make a bigger presence on YouTube, so you'll start to see us grow on the YouTube boxing community real quickly as we've solidified our place on several television networks, and we've been on radio for a long time. But nonetheless, this is from Coach. He says, hey, Billy C., after listening to you mention May Fay's so-called unbeaten record again yesterday to get rid of my Money May-induced headache, I just want to make another point of how irrelevant his 50-0 tally really is. Forget for the moment that Jimmy Wild was 93-0-1, Chavez was 87-0, and Willie Pep was 62-0 before they suffered their first losses. They didn't retire. They fought on. I would also have to say that in my arrogant opinion, the only real undefeated record in professional sports is in the NFL. In 1972, when the Miami Dolphins, of course, went 14-0 during the regular season, then went 3-0 in the playoffs for a final season record of 17-0. Keeping in mind they played a schedule, one thing is for sure, none of their opponents were picked. The Dolphins' feat could be equated to boxing in that the regular season could simply be seen as a fighter's developing path to contender status, and the playoffs their title fights, similar to the very attractive formula used in the World Boxing Super Series tournament, which not over a career but the short haul forces the fighter to fight the best and earn his title shot. No ducking, no dodging. They are focused. They are forced to act like, oh yeah, fighters, and fight for the chance to be a champion. They're forced to act like fighters. When comparing Mayweather's 50-0 sleight of hand, picking math, and his selecting Berto for his record-tying number 49, and pro-debuting Conor McGregor for his so-called record-breaking 50, to the Dolphins, NFL would never, ever include the Dolphins' last 1972 preseason game, which is Berto, and the first 1973 preseason game, which was McGregor, to go 19-0. I just want to stop for a sec, because that is the most aggravating thing to me when people bring up Floyd. Not to mention just Floyd, the human being, the scourge of the earth, in my opinion. But to suggest that this man even got to 50-0 by selecting a Berto at number 49 and a pro debut Conor McGregor at number 50, and is allowed to prance around like he does, saying that he's 50-0, and his fans supporting it, it just makes me sick. There's clearly an underlying issue here that is well beyond the scope of sports and a 50-0 record, but I'll leave it at that. Anyway, he says, while team sports and individual sports should be judged separately, humor me and consider the National Collegiate Athletic Association's Oklahoma Sooners. The Sooners hold the college football record for consecutive victories at 47. The streak beginning with a 1914 victory over the Texas Longhorns in 1953, going undefeated for over 5 seasons until losing 7-0 to Notre Dame in 1957. During that streak, the Sooners won 4 bowl games and 2 national championships. Before everyone jumps down my throat about different teams and players and all sorts of stuff it is to compare boxing's so-called road to a championship, I want everyone to consider back then, under the old college rules, the best record or unbeaten teams didn't always go to the national championship. The participants were selected by an Associated Press poll, not always seeing the best versus the best in the championship game. Sounds a little bit like Mayweather's career, picking and choosing cautious Berto and McGregor's type fights. Took years for the NCAA to to get it right. Maybe boxing can get past its archaic formula and just make fighters fight, especially the best ever or so-called world champions back to boxing. Add in the fact that Marciano went 49-0 in just 8 years. It took May, Picker, Fay over 20 years to get to 49-0. 49-0 is a heavyweight record. To make my point clear, let's use current-day boxing as an example. Unless a big change comes to Deontay Bomb Squad Wilder's soft opponent-picking, limp resume, it'll just make him another forgotten Brian Nelson, who, by the way, as a heavyweight champion, went 49-0. Pickers, fighters with soft resumes, and PED cheaters like Canelo can and should be filed right above Barry Bonds and Lance Armstrong. They will just become a distracting, stained asterisk on the sport, eventually ending up where they truly belong, in the land of irrelevant and forgotten. I say, in keeping with the true definition of competition, let's be fair to those who play by the rules. We must get away from everyone gets a trophy, or in this case, a title, and standardize the rules so we can move on and eventually be able to compare a mano a mano sport to apples to apples. Once again, thanks for letting me vent. He's got another point here, but Sal, he makes some valid points, and it is frustrating because coaches like you and I, we love the sport. It's our sport. We love the sport, and we're historians from the sport. The truth of the matter is that it's hard to justify the paths that people take today and compare it to the game that was fought yesteryear. And although that may be based on physical attributes and the fact that we have better athletes today, we shouldn't forget these other champions. The fact that these guys that he mentioned just alone, Chavez and Jimmy Wilder, I should say, just to mention, and even when he mentioned Willie Pep, to get to the numbers that they got to without losing, but then continuing to fight on until they eventually lost, that speaks volumes to me. How people can forget. Like, the problem I think that I really have, Sal, is that most people that will throw that 50-0 record in front of your face because of Fayweather, they don't even know about these other guys going 90-something and 87 and 62 and 0. It's like they devalue that. That bothers me the most, I think.
Well, I know it does, and it bothers me as well. And what's being thrown aside is the fact that these were special human beings that challenged themselves, that were never satisfied. They had to push on until they were issued their first defeat or not. It's just because boxing or other sports, when you're on that level, it's something else that you cannot really identify or empathize with unless you have had an opportunity to achieve some level of greatness in your life, which people do. It could be all forms, but that's what these guys ride on. It's the challenge. It's the heart, the desire. This is what they live, eat, breathe. And this is their makeup. This is their character. This is what sets them apart. Not everybody could do something special, because if they all could, everybody would be doing it. So don't let the naysayers or the ones that want to take superstardom and turn it into mediocrity allow that to happen. There are certain things that people could do a little better or a little more exceptional than others can do. And that's just the way the hands of God dealt the cards to certain people. And, it's not saying good, bad, or indifferent on some levels. Everybody's got a unique talent. Everybody's got a unique feature. Everybody's got a unique imprint that they can do, or they can utilize, that they can maximize. And these are just certain athletes that have been able to maximize their God-given talent in a way that created superstardom status. So don't pull them down. Just recognize that these are fighters, these are exceptional athletes that challenge themselves because they believe in themselves and they look for greatness or for things to happen.
It's simple when you look at it this way. And this is the simplest way to put it. I mean, really, there's no other way to put it. But look at it this way. a fighter 30 years ago plus, when you said I was the world champion, you were the only guy in your weight division. Whether there were 8 divisions or more, you were the only guy. Well, if I was a heavyweight champion, I was the only heavyweight champion. End of story.
Reigning champ.
I mean, that's the end of that. Today, I should get some money for Mike Silver's book, because I promote it all the time. The rise, the arc of what is it? The arc of boxing, the rise and fall of sweet science, I believe it's called. It's not a captivating read, all right. However, what he does in this book is he points out the reasons why the fighters of yesteryear were better, and statistically, he points it out. And the biggest stat that you can pull from like the 40s versus the early 2000s is primarily where he focuses his point in this book, is the number of fighters that there were. So if you have, for an example, a number that comes out in my mind is when he did it in the 40s, it was something like 1,500 licensed professional boxers in New York State. And in 2004, whenever the hell he did the comparison stat, there was something like 38 or 48, something like that, some ridiculously low number. All right. So when you factor in the simple fact that there were way more fighters fighting, and you would have one champion, it doesn't take a brain surgeon to figure out that the quality of those fighters were better. And, oh, by the way, which I'm going to point out here in a few minutes, when you made it to number 10 contender status, that was a big deal. If you were number 10, if you were number 10 in the world at middleweight, you were one badass fighter. Now we got 2 guys that I'm going to talk about in a little bit that are fighting for the WBC version of a world title that aren't, by the computer, aren't even ranked in the top 20. Neither one of them are ranked, and the computer is non-biased. They rank based on who fought who, et cetera, et cetera. So, I mean, the truth of the matter is, for the fighter today to become a champion, it's a hell of a lot easier than it was yesterday. And to cherry pick on top of that just makes it worse. We could go on and on. I got some other stuff. Let me just finish this last point from Coach. He says, I know you're preparing for this snowstorm. We're in it now. He says, but what's your opinion on the WBC following the country's new protective criminal justice reform mode and the Louis Neary over the weight limit cause? In my arrogant opinion, it's popular culture's new creed of no longer you broke the rule and it has consequences, but now it automatically asks what your excuse is. I say, like Canelo, blame it on the cows. Oh, I guess I just gave the reason I just gave a reason for a new Protect the Cows group. He says, boxing needs standardized rules. It's what helped keeps the mano a mano concept we old school boxing fans love. It is true. And, we've said this many times before, Sal. Just society in general today, we're not held accountable for our actions anymore. It's like the old saying, you're innocent until proven guilty. Now I can accuse you of robbing me, and now you have to prove to everyone that you didn't. Everyone's going to believe me until you prove otherwise, when it should have been the other way around. We've become a society of no one is held accountable for their actions. It sucks, and it's no different in sports.
No, it's true. There's been a change, and it didn't happen overnight. But why it's so unnoticed is because it happened to trickle a bit over time, and it gave us, fast forward to where we are today in society. Yep.
But speaking of the over the weight issue that Coach just referred to, there was a proposal that was put out, after the Louis Neary when he failed to make his weight, and this was put out that they're looking to get, to have it tweaked and stuff, but they want all of the 4 major sanctioning bodies to support it. This proposal included these 5 issues. 1, have a special summit meeting among all world governing organizations to unify, standardize the overweight punishment rule. 2, suspend the overweight boxer in a world title bout for 1 year to deprive him of an opportunity to professionally fight, even in a non-title fight in any country. 3, forbid him from fighting in a quest of a world championship of any world organization for a year. 4, eliminate him in any world rankings for a year. And 5, should he again commit an overweight incident, the punishment should be double as far as the above written for him to be suspended for a couple of years. This was a proposal. The stringence, the strict rule here, or the tone I'm getting here, should be applied to performance-enhancing drug use. I say strike one and you're out. As far as this overweight punishment rule, I'm all for it. But you know what, Sal? A lot of this could be eliminated if they had same-day weigh-ins. Don't you agree?
Yes, I do. And that's why, by boxing trying to improve or evolve, they've actually set back on certain levels. They've set it back. And I believe the same-day weigh-ins, which were originated in the sport of boxing, should take place and should still be instituted to have it done immediately. I'm telling you, things have changed on so many levels with the sport, on a sport that didn't need all that much change because it can only evolve to a certain degree. And looking out for the best interest of the fighters and all those that may be involved in the sense that put their lives on the line, which are the fighters. Thank you very much. Let's look at it differently. We had it where you have the same day weigh-ins. It was in the morning, the day of the fight, and what you could do to rehydrate or do something else that day. Hey, guess what? You roll the dice. You do what you got to do, and you don't have to worry about it. Now you can fast. I mean, we used to do that. 36 hours drying out, or 24 hours before the weigh-ins dry out. You just don't drink or consume any liquids, and you drop some weight. And then, you step off the scale, you rehydrate yourself. But the bottom line is, yeah, were we 100%? It's very seldom there was a fighter on 100% anytime they step in a ring. They're as close as they can get to 100%. But if they were 100%, you have so many things going on in a fighter through a 6 to 8 week training regimen. From a torn muscle to hurt bones in your hand to doing this to maybe a cut that reopened or something else. So to say one has to be 100% is a falsehood because you do the best you can when you get in there. Well, same thing with weigh-ins and boxing. You know what? The day before weigh-in, when that first came out, I'll tell you, I can't believe it, how much of a difference in the namesake of being better for the fighters. And it wasn't. You could have a fighter get down to a weight the day before a fight, and he could lose 15, 20 pounds, just specifying he's getting in there for that weight class. And then, boom, 24 hours later when he steps in the ring, he's a 15, 20-pound giant over the weight that he's supposed to be fighting. No. I don't like it.
I mean, listen, there'll be fighters, if we have same-day weigh-ins, there'll be fighters that won't make weight, granted. But the problem that we have today is some people can dry out better than others, and that's what started it all. They just feel they have the edge. But what we have is, when I sit back and I'm watching guys fight, and the Charlo brothers come into mind because they're monsters in the ring. They look like they're 4 weight classes above what they weighed in at, and we don't have a true representation of weight classes anymore. I don't know. Maybe we created that by allowing all the different weight classes. You didn't have those discrepancies in weight when there were only 8 because there was a bigger gap in the weight class. Hey, I just want to say one thing real quick. I'm trying to monitor all these different chat rooms, and we are, like I said, we're trying to get a bigger presence in the YouTube boxing community, something that I never really cared about, but now all of a sudden it's a personal goal of mine. But I just saw in the chat room that my man, one of the guys in the chat room, David, said he was getting something to eat at. I'm not going to plug him, but a fast food drive-through, and he's listening to our show on his Bluetooth. So he's got the stream on his Bluetooth, and he get a comment from the guy at the window. But my point isn't to promote the place or even the comment, because the comment made me just throw up in my mouth. But the truth of the matter is I love the fact that the technology of today has given you guys, the viewers and listeners, an opportunity to watch or listen to the show on your way to work, whatever, on your handheld. I mean, it's great, don't you think, Sal?
Oh, come on, yeah, it is. I mean, I pull up our show at night in a restaurant just to show what we did that morning, because people are curious about it. And by the way, I have more and more people coming up to me out of blue, just introducing themselves to me, saying, "Hey, I listen to your show every Sunday. I think we're on either the 8 or 9 o'clock hour now." And they start off their day, and they love it. I had countless people, I'll tell you, telling me all the time that they're listening and they're becoming big fans of the show, and they don't know anything about boxing, but they're interested in hearing us because for some reason we're entertaining.
Hey, listen, I want to give a shout out to my man Steve Lott. Steve Lott is a big part of our Boxing Revisited series, Sal, because if it wasn't for Steve, we wouldn't have the permission to rebroadcast some of those great fights that we're trying to get out there. That the one that still sticks in my mind, I was talking about a poll question yesterday, was to me it was the most brutal fight I ever watched, and that was Gene Fulmer against Benny Kid Paret. The image of that fight still sticks in my mind. The fact that we were
right now.
Now. The thing was, and that's all because of my man Steve Lott. But the thing is, Sal, the best part of that fight was watching you, because you had never watched the fight, and I got to be honest, I had only seen the end of that fight when we did it. So I had never watched all 10 rounds of it. You had never watched any of it, and the shock factor was so real when we broadcast that or when we filmed it anyway. Yeah, that's all thanks to my man Steve Lott. So that was big stuff. Speaking of big stuff, let's talk a little about heavyweights real quick. Eddie Hearn from Matchroom Sport said that they were talking to him about Tyson Fury. Now, we hear about Tyson Fury all the time, saying he wants to fight Anthony Joshua, he wants to fight Deontay Wilder. Said he would give Deontay Wilder a good hiding, which, I love the comments from England. I still say it. This show is in its 15th year already, Sal. And, all along we've had a big following in the UK, and I wish that somehow, some way, shape, or form, we would be able to do our show for 1 week in England, because I would love it. I would love to learn all of the sayings that the Brits say. I was gutted, meaning I was basically I was gutted. I was disappointed. I was whatever. But I'm going to give him a good hiding. I'm going to beat his butt. But Eddie Hearn, referring to Tyson Fury, said there's been a lot of rumors that he's talking about Tyson Fury will join up with us. It's not true. As far as I know, he says it's not true as far as I know. He says we're not close to any kind of an agreement. We've had some conversation, but I think he's talking to many other promoters right now. But if he does come with us, there's a very strong straight road to a lot of big fights for him. Of course, Anthony Joshua. Then we have Dillian White, Tony Bellew. Ultimately, the grand prize is Joshua, because of how huge of a fight that is. I still feel strongly about Tyson Fury needing to fight some other fights before he gets a fast track to Anthony Joshua. But should Tyson Fury sign with Eddie Hearn and his promotional company, right out of the gate, a fight with Tony Bellew or even Dillian White would be worthwhile to see, don't you think?
Oh, yeah, I see that, and that would be a good fight, those two. But, yes, I do have a hard time with seeing him coming out of retirement just to fight an Anthony Joshua or Deontay Wilder. That I don't think should happen. No, I want to see him fight as you suggested, somebody formidable that that can give him a good test, and then he can have an opportunity to beat.
Right. Well, you know, I mean, I just
to do a good showing.
Well, that's the name of the game, if he could do it, you know. But anyway, hey, listen, don't go anywhere. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, I got some more heavyweight news. I got some discussion about a big fight this weekend. And I also got a sign of good things happening in the sport of boxing. I was just talking about it in another chat room. I'm a multitasking guy, as you can see.
You are.
But I was talking about it in another chat room with my man, David Wilcox. But I'll be telling you why the stats are showing that the popularity of boxing is on the rise. I'll get to all of that in about 2 minutes.
Billy C will be right back. Part of the Billy C Boxing Network.
Snacking has never been this exciting. At Graze.com, we combine wholesome ingredients with the flavors we all love to create over 100 exciting snacks, like these. We'd love to send you a Graze sampler box for free. Just go to Graze.com, enter the code ENJOY36, and we'll mail your free box to your home or office. Join thousands of Grazers already in love with our exciting snacks. So come to Graze.com for your first box free. Need relief from backaches and stiffness in your hips or down your legs? Then you need Dr. Ho's Back Relief Belt. The innovative technology works to support and decompress your spine. And now it's covered by Medicare.
Every patient with back pain should be wearing this belt.
Nothing gave me instant relief except for the Dr. Ho belt.
Feel good while standing, walking, driving, doing housework, and while laying down. And now Dr. Ho's patented belt is available at our best price ever. It's even covered by Medicare. Order now and get the easy-to-use hand pump and back rehabilitation DVD free.
You know, similar belts can cost you almost $1,000, but my belts won't cost you $500, not $300, not even $200. I will give you my special TV price.
And remember, Dr. Ho's belt is covered by Medicare.
If you know a friend or family member that suffers with pain, get them my system today. Help them live with less pain, be more active, and get back to doing the things they love. Give them the gift of health.
Listen to this important message. If you owe money to the IRS, you will want to hear this. Penalties and interest compound daily on your back taxes, putting you under a mountain of debt. Tax 10,000 has years of experience connecting people with tax resolution specialists. Working through the IRS Fresh Start program, they will handle all the necessary forms, and if you qualify, you may end up saving thousands of dollars. Call Tax 10,000 at 800-773-4604.
Endless pools are an incredible alternative to traditional pools, making it easy and inexpensive to swim at home. Exercise year-round against a smooth current set to your desired pace and temperature. With our new underwater treadmill, you can walk or run without stressing your joints. Endless pools are simple to install and even simpler to maintain. The water stays crystal clear with almost no chlorine. Call for your free idea kit and experience the freedom of swimming at home.
Check out BillyCBoxing.com now, or feel the wrath of the mighty mustache.
Oh, that hurts! Why are you doing that to my face? I hate you!
That's BillyCBoxing.com. Consider this your warning. Now back to Talkin' Boxing with Billy C. He may not have an Excellence in Broadcasting award, but the night's still young.
And he's got martinis.
So you never know what may be by morning. It's Talkin' Boxing with Billy C.
Talkin' Boxing with Billy C.
Now back to Billy C. Interact with the show at BillyCBoxing.com.
And we're back. You're watching and listening to the Billy C Show. Glad you could be with us. And I tell you, it's hard, Sal. It's hard with all these chat rooms, man. I'm sitting there,
I think you should tie them all together.
As what Ringo Starr said, and it was Ringo Starr, by the way, which I never knew, but as he said in that song Helter Skelter, I got blisters on my fingers. I always thought that was John Lennon, but I learned from the Beatles channel that that was Ringo Starr that said that. That famous line at the end. At the end of Helter Skelter, in the real version, you hear somebody at that point say, "I got blisters on my fingers." And for years, for my whole life, I thought it was John Lennon, hitting the guitar, or even Paul McCartney. But it turns out that it's Ringo Starr. But anyway, some more heavyweight news. Lucas Brown, he was the former regular WBA. Man, this follows like what we were saying before. I mean, how bad has it come? We're saying that boxing used to have one world champion for every day. Now, in a heavyweight division alone, you have to distinguish: is he a super champion? Is he a regular champion? Is he interim champion? Is he a champion of Muay Thai? Is he a champion in recess? Either way, I got 5 champions in one weight division in one sanctioning body. So multiply that by 4, you could potentially have 20 guys walking around saying they're the world heavyweight champion. Oh my God! And then you have 4 different top 10 guys too. So you could have friggin' 4 or 5 guys walking around saying that they're number 10. So it's a joke. But anyway. Lucas Brown, who was the former regular WBA champion, who tested positive for performance-enhancing drugs, was subsequently stripped of his title, and he was out of boxing for a little bit, paid his dues, so to speak, fought a comeback fight. Now he's got a huge fight coming up at the end of this month against Dillian White, which is going to be a big fight for both these guys. Lucas Brown is very confident. I haven't heard much from Camp White. But I will say this, Lucas Brown looks like he's in great shape. I've seen some footage, I've seen some stills, and he's been getting some great sparring. He recently ended a sparring session with Derek Chisora. Now, Derek Chisora is kind of just a tough guy. And he also, I'm trying to think, he also sparred Tyson Fury for a while as well. But the one thing I look at, and apparently he's going to be sparring Derek Chisora again. The one thing that I do see in Derek Chisora is a lot of similarities with him and Dillian White. I think Dillian White has more technical skill than Derek Chisora, but in terms of trying to get a body in there that is going to move and be similar. Now Derek Chisora is a little on the wild side, but this is going to be at first I wasn't really that excited about this fight, but to tell you the truth, Sal, this is an intriguing fight in the heavyweight division. It's not Deontay Wilder against AJ, but it's creating the interest for that next big fight I'm always talking about. You know what I'm saying?
No, I know what you're saying. I agree with you. It's going to be an interesting contest. I definitely look forward to it.
And I tell you, Lucas Brown, like I said, he's looking good. So we'll see what he's physically looking good. I don't know how he looks inside the ring, but we will certainly see. Boxing, earlier we were reading an email, and basically it had my man Coach was venting about the trials and tribulations. I'm not talking about the legal trials, but the trials and tribulations of one guy named Floyd Mayweather. And, it's no secret that I was never a fan of this guy, and the main reason is his antics outside the ring, which I know is not fair, but I never was a fan of his style. I can't stand runners, et cetera, et cetera. But when it seems that if you created a timeline or a chart or a graph and you put Floyd Mayweather's name in there, and you put him in there with the status of boxing, you will find a pretty defined downward spiral of the popularity of the sport. I mean, it's there. Do it. And as soon as Floyd leaves the sport, and you will see jumps in that timeline, in that graph that you create, and those will represent the times that Floyd retired and left us. And then now he's so-called retired, and we are clearly in a very good place in the sport of boxing. And not only is it opinionated, But the ratings on TV are backing these claims, Sal. The ratings on Saturday in a super featherweight. Now, this is super featherweight, junior lightweight match between Annie Vences and Eric De Leon, which was on ESPN. Now, this isn't even a heavyweight fight, or let's be honest, these aren't two huge names in the sport. They already have the biggest rating in boxing of 2018 already. They averaged a .8 metered market rating, which is huge for boxing. The only one that is ahead of it right now is Wilder Ortiz. So we'll see what happens. It even did better than Oscar Valdez and Scott Quigg did. They only measured a .7. So I think that not only are we enjoying this resurgence of entertaining boxing, so are the rest of the people. It's proven that if these guys engage, the fans will follow. What's your thoughts on this, Sal?
Well, I concur with you on this. And, styles make fights, but styles of fighting can make fans. And what we like to see is a fight. We definitely see the contrast in styles with a boxer who would want to avoid running. Want to avoid punches, and I'm not saying that that's a negative thing. You've got to slip punches, you got to block punches, but you've got to stay in the pocket to deliver your own punch. And that's the biggest thing. When we see exchanges in the ring, it's what brings the fans out. That's the test of the mettle, the courage, the conditioning, the heart, the desire. See, fight fans, what they often do is they can identify with a fighter, and they become fans because they live vicariously a little bit through that fighter, and they can sense, that that's their heart, that's their fighter. They can do that, and it just, I'm not saying it verbatim, but I am saying there is some validity to that. They identify something that they like about a fighter and a style, and they say, well, you know what, that's what I like. That's what I could do. That kind of stuff.
Well, listen, everybody is always saying to me, specifically young fans, MMA, UFC, whatever, it's so much more exciting, it's this and that. Well, I look at it a couple of ways. One is the attention span of a young adult today is way less than it was years ago, and I used to contribute the fact that the MMA type fights are 3 rounds versus as much as 12. But when you think about it, they're not loving the leg lock 2 guys on the canvas waiting for a submission hold. They're loving the brutality end of it.
Well, yeah,
and
they are.
If boxing, if boxing ended that with the Mayweather era, it certainly showed. Now, Mayweather doesn't give a crap because, and this is the other part that bothers me, and this is the main reason why I just don't understand why his loyal fans let him do it. The guys that he screws the most, aside from beating up women and pimply-faced security guards, the people that Floyd Mayweather had screwed the most throughout his history of boxing was his most loyal fans. The same idiots that are wearing the TMT hats all over the place. He's selling those hats for $25 a pop. All of that stuff. These kids just don't get it, that they're the ones that are fueling his car collection and his planes and his gambling. It's joke. It's a joke. And anybody that tries to tell me how good he is, and you can't hit him. Well, he can't hit his opponent either when he's 12 feet away. But anyway, interesting comment today, Sal. It was in the news. Don King, who's definitely on in years, is saying that his guy Amir Rahman, who fights this week against Ramirez. Jose Ramirez, I'm sorry, for the vacant WBC junior welterweight title, another one of the titles that Terence Crawford had vacated, said that not only is Amir Rahman going to take out Ramirez, he's also going to take out Bob Arum. He says Amir Rahman is coming to Madison Square Garden, the mecca of boxing in New York City to take down not only Jose Ramirez, but Bob Arum, too. I can hardly wait for Saturday night. Start the clock. Tick-tock, tick-tock. T-minus 120 hours till Ramirez Iman enter the ring Saturday night. I look at this as typical Don King rhetoric, and I look at the two fighters, Amir Iman, 21-1 with 18 knockouts, going up against Jose Ramirez, and it's for this vacant title. Let me tell you, I've always liked Amir Iman. He's a power puncher. He's ranked at number 63. This is the joke part. He's ranked at number 63 by the computer at welterweight, and the WBC has him ranked number 1 in the junior welterweight division. The WBC has him ranked at number 1. He's ranked at number 63 by the computer. I mean, come on. What did it take to get him ranked number 1? Jose Ramirez is ranked number 23 by the computer in the proper division, and the WBC has him ranked at number 3. We'll be breaking these fights down later in the week. But the one thing I am going to say, Amir Iman busted out onto the scene and was knocking out some big names until he stepped in the ring with Adrian Granados, in which he was stopped in the 8th round of a 10-round fight. Now, since then, he's fought not 1, not 2, but 3 total slugs to get him ranked at number 1 in the junior welterweight division. If I'm Don King, I'd be pretty quiet because Jose Ramirez, unlike Amir Iman, he's fought some pretty talented fighters in his last half a dozen fights. So we'll all see. They're very similar in height, age, everything. One other thing I want to point out, Stacy McKinley is the trainer of Amir Iman. And one of the inside jokes about Stacy McKinley, Sal, is that whoever gets him as a trainer never lasts long. This is a guy that does not have a proven record. We'll be breaking those fights down. But what's your thoughts on Don King trying to get himself back in the mix at his ripe old age, since he's been kind of not in the mix for quite some time?
Well, Don is a promoter. I love Don. And, Don will do what he has to do to pump up a fighter and promote him. And that's what I love about the grassroots promoters that Don was a part of. And so Don is doing what he wants to do, what he has to do, what he can do to get names out there to promote. And you can't down him for that. And I appreciate hearing from him on that level, that he's back in the mix. And I'd love to see him continue to be back on top, because guess what? Hey, maybe there's another reason why that boxing has had a backseat or has had a drought, if you will, because you used to have the Don King of the boxing game that were promoters of the sport of boxing, and that's what's so significant and so ideal and so lost today. So Don, I welcome Don back on any level, because you know what, the game was always good when Don King put his fingers on it.
Listen. No,
in my opinion.
No. Listen, I'm not disagreeing with you, because I've always said that Don King gets a bad rap, but the truth of the matter is his days are over. I mean, that's the sad truth. He doesn't have any fighters. He doesn't promote anything anymore. He's won a couple of purse bids over the last several years that were stripped from him because he couldn't come up with the money. So, it's sad. The thing is, what's happening to Don King, and nobody's more supportive of Don King than me, but what's happening to Don King is very similar to what has happened to many of the fighters that he promoted. He's going through this slow suffering demise, if you will. In my opinion, he's the greatest boxing promoter of all time. Doesn't mean he's a great guy, but I think he's the greatest. He made you feel that if you missed a fight, he made you feel that the fight was so important that if you missed it, you were missing out on the invention of the shoe or something like that. And you know, it was amazing, really, right? Don't you think?
It was not only amazing. Let me tell you, you know, how many times I told after the fact, you know, Sal, Don King wanted to promote you. He would have got you a title fight. And you know what? I regret not having that opportunity. I did have the opportunity. I chose not to do that path. And I could kick myself in the head because it would have been a different path. The bottom line is, I first met Don King. I just won the Golden Gloves. And Murray Goodman, who was Don King's right-hand guy with Bob Goodman. They were father and son. They worked with Don King and for Don King. And they were my next-door neighbor in my little town of Rivervale. And Murray Goodman had a golf outing with Don King as the celebrity there. And that was my first opportunity. Murray connected us together. As I said, I just won the Golden Gloves. And I wanted to turn pro eventually after the 80 Olympics and things like that. So Don King took an honest interest in me. And he said, who's your favorite fighter? I said, Roberto Duran. That's who I emulate. I love Roberto Duran. He's my favorite fighter of all time. And Don King at that very moment said, well, Sal, I'm going to make your dreams come true. Next week, I'm having a press conference at the Philadelphia Spectrum with Roberto Duran and Adolfo Viruet. I'm promoting that fight. I want you to come down as my guest and shake hands and spar with Roberto Duran. And sure enough, I mean, he made it all happen, and I did. Don King was always good to me. He's a promoter, and what Don King has a special gift. He would make people that he was introduced to feel special, and you know that's a special gift that he transcended and has done through the ages. And he's a promoter, a grassroots promoter, and like I said, I love Don King, and I hope I get to see him one day in the future. He's really just a great guy, and you know he was implemental also with a lot of things that boxing went through the years.
You know, everybody blames him. You know, they rip off. See, the thing about Don, and when I get into conversations about Don King, I always, now let's be real. Don King isn't an angel. He's definitely has screwed fighters in the past. I mean, you know, he was in jail. He did time for manslaughter, for God's sakes. You know, the numbers runner in Cleveland for years. But here's the truth. When Don King, the reason why so many fighters said that Don King screwed him is because it kind of went like this. Don King would go and say to a fighter, hey, I'll give you X amount of money to fight so-and-so. And the fighter would say, no, I want Y amount of money. And Don King would say, okay, I'll tell you what. Here's Z amount of money, cash, in a bag. Here you go. And then the fighter agrees to it. And he's happy. He walks out because he got more than Don King originally offered. He's got a bag of cash. He, got more than Don King offered. He got a little less than what he wanted, but he got more, and he's holding a bag of cash, a down payment, whatever. Then the next day, or the next month, or the next week, he finds out that Don King made 10 times as much during the promotion, and now he says Don King ripped him off. It's the same as when an NFL player signs a 5-year deal with a team for $10 million. And 2 years into the contract, the guy playing next to him signs a 5-year deal for $15 million. Now that original guy is mad because the guy playing next to him is making more, and he wants to redo his contract. The issue here, Sal, is the time to negotiate is before you sign the contract. Once you sign the contract, end of story. It's irrelevant who made what. You signed the contract. You were happy at that time. But because you heard that somebody else made more money than you, now you feel pissed. That's 90% of what happened to Don King. Fighters got pissed that they found out of how much money Don King made when they were doing all the training and taking the risk, etc., etc. But the time to negotiate is before you sign the contract.
You're absolutely right. And you know what? I say this. It's ludicrous because the bottom line is, hey, you can't down a promoter like Don King for making money. And you know what? You've gotten the most money and you made more money than you ever would have to begin with. So, you know, it's like everything else again. You know what? Also, you have fighters, and I'm sure this happened to Don, you know, that would sign a fight for maybe $10 million. And they go to Don. Hey Don, I need a front. Let me have $1 million, or let me have $2 million. I got to go to Vegas before I start my camp. And then they go to Vegas, and then they go to training camp, and they got to pay for sparring partners. They got to pay for housing. They got to pay for food. They got to pay for all this. They got to pay for travel, and then they get out and they fight, and the purse is paid, and they got to have expenses paid, 10% off to the top to the trainer, 33 1/3 to the manager, and they're paying taxes. So when they wind up with $2 or $3 million, because by the way, they borrowed $2 to begin with, and they say, well, I was ripped off, or Don King. Give me a break. I mean, do the math, guys. You would never have that opportunity to have made that money. And I would have rather have signed with Don King and have the opportunity to make some money to get the title shot and to do this, and be grateful that the guy led me to the water, and it's up to me to drink and decide for myself what's going on after the fact. So I don't believe anything with that, and none of us have a stellar satin-free history of path where we're angels. We do the best we can. We try to figure things out. We take the information, we dissect it, we educate ourselves with it, and we make decisions. And sometimes they're not the best decisions, but we make decisions, and we live and learn from applying what we learn to make a better decision in the future. So you know what? When I hear all this stuff that Don King ripped me off, Don King did it, get a break. You know what? Look at the reality and look at the lesson and do the math.
I agree. Got an update on the World Boxing Super Series. Remember George Groves had to, or was requested to undergo some shoulder surgery, and was requesting that the World Boxing Super Series super middleweight tournament be pushed back so he could have the surgery done and still fight. And apparently there's been some different reports on the subject. Well, the World Boxing Super Series owner has issued a official statement, and it says, contrary to the media reports, the World Boxing Super Series is said that the decisions related to the tournament are exclusively taken at a top management or company board level. No advisory panel or external entities support Cosmosa AG, which is the corporate name, in respect to any business and sporting decision. They are now employing 2 independent orthopedic specialists to give medical opinions on George Groves' condition. The official decision on the status of the super middleweight final will be announced soon. I think their hands are tied here, Sal, because I can't see them taking a substitute right now for the final when we kind of got the fight that everybody wants. I think they have no choice but to let Groves get, repaired. What they're trying to do right now is determine whether he needs to be, go under the knife or not. I think it's a foregone conclusion that this final is going to be postponed, don't you think?
Yeah, I think so, Bill. And, it's got to be the fighters that earn their way there have to be the ones that go in the ring. And if it's postponed due to an injury or repair, you know what? It's a shame that it happens, but, those are the 2 best that are in a position for the finals, and they have to honor that because they both worked hard to get there. And I think it would be unfair to have an alternate and everything else just slip in there without having to do what the other fighters have done.
Right. Well, I mean, what do you think should be done? I mean, there's no other solution. Do you think they should have a sub?
No, I really don't. That's just it. I mean, it's hard to deny a fact that if a fighter works his way up there, and that's the trouble with tournaments. That's why that's the only thing. You've got to stay healthy for each upcoming fight, and it's along the way you're gonna get cut. You're gonna have this. You're gonna have an injury. You're gonna have something. Hopefully, it's not that threatening to your career or your future, but it happens. It's now. What do you do? Do you postpone it? Do you have an asterisk? Do you put a sub there, and then when the guy's healed better a year or 2 from now, You got to fight him again. Well, what happens to the guy that, we don't even know if the fighter's going to be around that much longer, or what happens in his career. A fight can end a career. One fight can end someone's career in an instant. So it's hard to say.
No, the point is...
There are no perfect answers. Never perfect answers.
Well, my point here about the World Boxing Super Series is that it's been so successful. Why would you take... I get it, that the rules are the rules and that you have an injury here, but why would you take a fight that kind of has, whittled down to the two guys that we want to see, Groves and Callum Smith, fight?
Yeah.
And, why would you take and say, well, we have our date, our final is on this date, and we have an injury, so therefore, so-and-so is going to have to step in. There's been talk, well, maybe they should give it to Chris Eubank Jr. He was the next in line, blah, blah, blah. No. They had a plan in place. They do have substitutes, but that's not fair it's not only is it not fair to Groves, it's not fair to us, the fans. Here we are, we're watching this tournament. It's been great. Why ruin it now?
Well, that's just it. I don't know how severe the injury is or how much time it's going to postpone a fight. But no, that's what the fans want. That's what the fans, and that's what the fighters earn, by the way. They deserve the opportunity to be in the finals or to be on top. So, you know what? I think they should relook at this date and maybe postpone it to a time where both these fighters are healthy enough to get in the ring together and then decide. That's it. I
agree with you. Hey, listen, we're going to take a short break. When we come back, we got some closing thoughts, and just hang out. We'll be back in 2.
Billy C will be right back. Part of the Billy C Boxing Network.
Listen to this important message. If you owe money to the IRS, you will want to hear this. Penalties and interest compound daily on your back taxes, putting you under a mountain of debt. Tax 10,000 has years of experience connecting people with tax resolution specialists. Working through the IRS Fresh Start program, they will handle all the necessary forms, and if you qualify, you may end up saving thousands of dollars. Call Tax 10,000 at 800-773-4604.
Need relief from backaches and stiffness in your hips or down your legs? Then you need Dr. Ho's Back Relief Belt, the innovative technology to support and decompress your spine. And now it's covered by Medicare.
Every patient with back pain should be wearing this belt.
Nothing gave me instant relief except for the Dr. Ho belt.
Feel good while standing, walking, driving, doing housework, and while laying down. And now Dr. Ho's patented belt is available at our best price ever. It's even covered by Medicare. Order now and get the easy-to-use hand pump and back rehabilitation DVD free.
Similar belts can cost you almost $1,000, but my belts won't cost you $500, not $300, not even $200. I will give you my special TV price.
And remember, Dr. Ho's belt is covered by Medicare.
If you know a friend or family member that suffers with pain, get them my system today. Help them live with less pain, be more active, and get back to doing the things they love. Give them the gift of health.
Broken air conditioning, $4,400. Failing refrigerator, $2,500. Don't let outrageous repair and replacement bills like these bust your budget. Get the First American Home Warranty Plan. And when a covered appliance or system breaks, we'll repair it or replace it for you.
We had a high-end dishwasher go kaput. They put it in a brand new dishwasher.
We have plans that cover air conditioning, most appliances, plus heating, plumbing, electrical systems, and much more. Plans start as low as $25 a month. Why let a major appliance or system breakdown bust your budget or go through the hassle of finding trustworthy service people? Last year alone, we saved our customers over $120 million. Don't wait until something breaks and you're stuck with a huge bill.
You save a lot of money. It's absolutely worth it.
If you don't have First American warranty, get it.
Call 1-800-946-6234 for your free no-obligation quote. Are you currently on Medicare? In other words, do you carry the red, white, and blue Medicare card? If so, are you suffering from chronic back pain? If you answered yes, you may be eligible for a pain-relieving back brace covered by Medicare at little to no cost, shipped directly to your home for free. These medical-grade back braces are ideal for lower back pain, arthritis, spinal disorders, and other chronic back problems. Will you qualify for a medical-grade back brace?
Call Back Brace America at 1-800-290-8300.
Listen to this important message. If you owe money to the IRS, you will want to hear this. Penalties and interest compound daily on your back taxes, putting you under a mountain of debt. Tax 10,000 has years of experience connecting people with tax resolution specialists. Working through the IRS Fresh Start program, they will handle all the necessary forms, and if you qualify, you may end up saving thousands of dollars. Call Tax 10,000 at 800-773-4604.
Need relief from backaches and stiffness in your hips or down your legs? Then you need Dr. Ho's Back Relief Belt. The innovative technology works to support and decompress your spine. And now it's covered by Medicare.
Every patient with back pain should be wearing this belt.
Nothing gave me instant relief except for the Dr. Ho belt.
Feel good while standing, walking, driving, doing housework, and while laying down. And now Dr. Ho's patented belt is available at our best price ever. It's even covered by Medicare. Order now and get the easy-to-use hand pump and back rehabilitation DVD free.
You know, similar belts can cost you almost $1,000, but my belts won't cost you $500, not $300, not even $200. I will give you my special TV price.
And remember, Dr. Ho's belt is covered by Medicare.
If you know a friend or family member that suffers with pain, get them my system today. Help them live with less pain, be more active, and get back to doing the things they love. Give them the gift of health.
Broken air conditioning, $4,400. Failing refrigerator, $2,500. Don't let outrageous repair and replacement bills like these bust your budget. Get the First American Home Warranty Plan. And when a covered appliance or system breaks, we'll repair it or replace it for you.
We had a high-end dishwasher go kaput. They put it in a brand new dishwasher.
We have plans that cover air conditioning, most appliances, plus heating, plumbing, electrical systems, and much more. Plans start as low as $25 a month. Why let a major appliance or system breakdown bust your budget or go through the hassle of finding trustworthy service people? Last year alone, we saved our customers over $120 million. Don't wait until something breaks and you're stuck with a huge bill.
You save a lot of money. It's absolutely worth it.
If you don't have First American warranty, get it.
Call 1-800-946-6234 for your free no-obligation quote.
Are you currently on Medicare? In other words, do you carry the red?
Check out BillyCBoxing.com now, or feel the wrath of the mighty mustache.
Oh, that hurts! Why are you doing that to my face? I hate you.
That's BillyCBoxing.com. Consider this your warning.
Now back to Billy C. Interact with the show at BillyCBoxing.com.
And we're back. You're watching and listening to the Billy C. Show. Glad you could be with us. And you know, Sal, the biggest thing that aggravates me. I'm not even going to say it. But anyway, we got some updates on WBO welterweight champion Jeff Horn. Apparently. I thought that this fight between he and Terrence Crawford was all set in stone. Apparently, the contracts are just been signed, at least according to Jeff Horn's side, on his side. This fight's scheduled for, about 1 month from today. It's April 14th. Today's the 13th of March. And they're talking about, I'm happy this fight is done. We have copies of the contract right now. There's no more excuses. We're going to beat Terrence Crawford, et cetera, et cetera. They've been talking about this fight for weeks, and you're telling me now that it just was officially signed? How ridiculous is that?
That is ridiculous. It's crazy. I thought that was signed, sealed, and we're just waiting for them to deliver.
I don't understand. I thought it was a done deal, but
well, it is now.
Yeah. Hey, listen. Don't forget tomorrow on tomorrow's show, Boxing Hall of Famer and New Jersey boxing commissioner and a really close friend of mine, Larry Hazard, will be joining us. I'll be getting his thoughts on the Mikey Garcia fight and some other happenings, and I'm interested to see how he felt about the Valdez Scott Quigg fight, the issues that we're talking about with the PEDs and the potential ramifications from being caught, as well as the overweight limits. I mean, these are all right up Larry's alley. And by the way, our blast from the past, we've been getting blast from the past requests from you guys, and we honor them. And the last couple of times we've been getting some crazy requests, a couple of venues we had. Well, tomorrow's blast from the past is not on a fighter. It's not on a venue. It's on a promoter, Bob Arum. As per request, we're gonna be doing our blast from the past on Bob Arum and Top Rank. And then guess who's on tap after that? Guess who they want us to talk about after Bob Arum, Sal?
Don King.
You got it. You got it.
I was gonna say Jack Dempsey, but I blew that opportunity last week.
Yeah, no. It's Don King. So interesting stuff. We love it. But hey, listen. On this day in boxing history, March 13th in 2004, Winky Wright wins a 12-round decision over Sugar Shane Mosley to win the world and the WBC and WBA titles in the junior middleweight division. And by the way, Winky Wright had held on to he had the IBF junior middleweight title going into that fight. So he picked up the world, which is known now as the Ring, and the WBC and WBA. One thing I just want to mention real quick about this fight, Sugar Shane Mosley, same time when he fought Floyd Mayweather, Sugar Shane Mosley, if you really want to see Sugar Shane Mosley, when I thought that he was one of the best fighters, pound for pound, was when he was a lightweight, and even when he moved up to junior welterweight. I mean, those two weight classes, this guy seemed unbeatable. When he started to age and started moving up, that's when you started seeing some fights with him that weren't so great. But Sugar Shane, I loved him as a lightweight. I mean, I couldn't wait to watch Sugar Shane Mosley fight, Sal. I mean, I love this kid. And then when things started going down and he stayed in the sport, I was hoping that he would just walk away. And obviously he got a couple of more fights under his belt. But nonetheless, at lightweight, one of the best. Anyway, on this day, March 13th in 1998, Roberto Garcia, you see him now in the corner of Mikey Garcia. He wins a 12-round decision over Harold Warren to win the vacant IBF junior lightweight title. It took place in Miami. On this day in 1999, Leo Gamez knocks out Hugo Soto in the third round to win the WBA World Flyweight title. It took place at Madison Square Garden in New York City. On this day in 1993, this was another one of those small fighters that were really, really good, that was popular, too, because of his action-packed style. Michael Carbajal, on this day in 1993, knocks out Chiquita Gonzalez to win the WBC and retain his WBA World Junior Flyweight titles that took place in Vegas. On this day in 1961, Floyd Patterson knocks out Ingemar Johansson in the 6th round to retain his World Heavyweight title that took place in Miami Beach, Florida. And on this day, March 13th, in 1952, the best ever, the best fighter of all time, in my opinion, and in most others, Sugar Ray Robinson wins a 15-round decision over Bobo Olson to retain his world middleweight title, and that took place in San Francisco, California, on this day in 1952. Hey, man, that concludes our show for today. But tell me this, or I'll tell you this, and then you tell me that, but then we'll both say this. Make sure you I don't know. Make sure you tune in tomorrow morning. Same bat time, same bat channel. Until then, I'll leave you with this. Ciao, baby.